Alright, tonight's been a weird night for me. I've had some problems with my tooth. So I don't remember everything that happened during the early parts of this pay-per-view that much. I remember some. But just my tooth was bothering me. It still does a little bit, but like I took some Advil. Then I got real loopy. Started making jokes about I did it for The Rock. I'll explain where that came from. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about WWE Hell in a Cell 2020 because we got some stuff to talk about. So, we started with the kickoff show and it was announced earlier in the day that it was going to be R-Truth defending this year 48/7, 24/7, 7-Eleven, I-95 South European Television Championship against Drew Gulak. And, you know, it was a standard R-Truth match. It started with Drew Gulak, like, talking to little Jimmy, and then he hit little Jimmy, and that pissed off R-Truth, and R-Truth eventually won from the match, which I feel like WWE doesn't understand how this is supposed to work. Because every time they do a 24/7 title match, they disable the rules of the 24/7 championship. One of the best things about the Hardcore Championship back in the day is, while it was always on the line, while they still had matches for the title, it was the unpredictability of what was going to happen. You have two men fighting for one championship, but anyone could come in. So even if you have those two men, one of those two men might not even get the pinfall in the match. That's how unpredictable it was. But WWE doesn't know how to do that anymore because Vince McMahon is an old fart who doesn't know how it's supposed to work. But you know what? I like what they've done with R-Truth so far. They said during this match he's a 42-time 24/7 7-Eleven champion. But yeah, it was alright. Then the main show started. On the main show we got the Universal Championship starting tonight. Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. I know this ain't the right color, but deal with it because they haven't made a replica title with the blue one yet. So just deal with it. So, Universal Championship match. Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. I quit in Hell in a Cell. It's something. It was all about trying to get Jey Uso, I'm going to mess up, to say I quit. And at one point, it got so bad that they had to open the Hell in a Cell and let some people in, and Jimmy Uso got in. And then Roman Reigns decided to put Jimmy Uso in the guillotine, and because Jey Uso wouldn't say I quit, so, you know, I'm going to hurt your brother. I'm going to hurt him real bad if you don't say I quit. So Jey said I quit. And then, weirdly enough, Roman Reigns walked out, and there was Alpha and Sika, the Wild Samoans, the two old farts. And he got laid by two old farts. They put the lay over him. Roman Reigns got laid by two old farts. And he's just standing there. And it's like, if they had ended the pay-per-view with this, Roman Reigns standing with two old men while he's going like this, and the two old men are standing next to him, that's very weird to me. That is very weird. But yeah, there's Universal talk. Next, we had Jeff Hardy versus Elias. And this is where my tooth was really, really bothering me at this point. So I was kind of in here trying to eat my supper because I needed to eat. And all I heard was the bell ringing. Apparently, Jeff Hardy hit Elias with the guitar and caused disqualification. So, there's that. Then we got Otis versus The Miz with the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line. And this match, let me tell you, this match started my downward spiral for the night. Oh, man. So, So the whole story going into this was that The Miz bribed his way into getting this match. He bribed JBL at the Wrestlers Court to get this match. So I'm pretty sure he bribed the referee in this match to a certain extent. Because I'm very suspicious of this. Alright, so it's a standard match. Otis was doing real good. And then John Morrison pulled The Miz out of the ring before the count of 3. Now, normally, that should be disqualification because someone out that was not a part of this match, put their hands on someone who was in the match, therefore it's a disqualification. But they didn't disqualify. And then John Morrison was going to hit Otis with the Money in the Bank briefcase. But he was stopped by the referee, who still didn't disqualify him. Even though I know he didn't do it, but he was going to. That should be enough to disqualify him. And so she kicked him out, and then Tucker, he took the briefcase, and he did it for The Rock, and he hit Otis upside the head with the briefcase. He did it for The Rock. He did. He did it. He said, "I did it for The Rock," and he hit Otis with the briefcase, and cost him the match. But my biggest problem with this is that, well, I had a lot of problems, but the referee was in a position where she clearly saw it happen, but did nothing about it. That's why I think The Miz rigged it. And I don't think we needed Tucker to turn heel. Because they're on separate brands already. They're already separated. Why you gotta turn him heel? They can't even do a feud because they're on separate brands. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense, but we're gonna continue. Now we got Sasha Banks versus Bayley. And this match was good. It's a really good match. I was walking back and forth. I did it for The Rock, did it for The Rock. But, yeah, good back and forth. There's a point where Bayley took 2 candlesticks. She duct taped them together and tried to lay them between the ring. Have it like a bridge between the ring and the cell. And I'm sorry, but it looked ridiculous. Never came back into play either. I think maybe she just scrapped it. But eventually, Sasha Banks was able to put the bank statement on Bayley with the chair, using the chair, and she won the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bayley's reign of 380 days, which I don't know if that's even accurate, because sometimes they like to ignore the fact that she lost it to Charlotte for a week, but who knows. But yeah, fine match. And then we got the most confusing match of the night, I'm sure. Earlier in the night, the Hurt Business challenged Retribution, or one of the ones. There was a challenge between Retribution and the Hurt Business. One of the Hurt Business versus one of the Retribution. And so, not only did they have the match, Bobby Lashley was the one picked for the Hurt Business, and he was putting the United States title on the line. I know it's not the right United States title. They haven't made a replica for it yet. But he put it on the line, and so, of course, if the United States title on the line, and you got to go against Bobby Lashley, you're going to send your biggest, baddest guy right next to a T-bar or a mace right here. No, they sent Slapjack. And they couldn't even do that right. It should have ended in disqualification, but they waited until after Slapjack tapped out to Bobby Lashley's Hurt Lock and then sent out Retribution. Why aren't they booking these guys right? They lost the match on Raw. They lost here. They should have just went for the attack and lost by disqualification, because it would make sense. There's not actually a loss. There's no pinfall taken. A disqualification would have worked better. But no, Vince McMahon doesn't know what he's doing anymore. I digress. We go on to Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, the main event for the WWE Championship. And this was a pretty good match. I think it was pretty good. It started off Randy Orton sneaking up, wearing a mask, taking advantage of the pandemic by wearing the mask and a hood, and then sneaking up on Drew McIntyre and attacking him. And the announcers, he attacked them. The announcers were like, this match hasn't started yet. I'm like, it's a Hell in a Cell match. There's no disqualification. You can start the match. You don't need to wait for them to be in the ring. But no, they got to be in the cell for the match to start, which is bullshit. And, of course, I want to point out something that they pointed out that there's no disqualifications in a Hell in a Cell when there was a disqualification in a Hell in a Cell a couple years ago. So, But yeah, and this, like I said, this was a pretty good match. Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, they're going back and forth. There was a table spot where we went through the table, and then they did a spot where they went up on the top of the cell, and then they went to the side, and Drew McIntyre, it looked like Drew McIntyre slipped to me. But they're saying that Randy Orton pushed him. He landed to the announce table. They went back in, and Randy, before they could do anything, Drew McIntyre hit a Claymore. And then as Randy's getting back up, Drew McIntyre's going for another one. Randy Orton, whoop, out of the way, and it hit him with an RKO. 1, 2, 3. Randy Orton is the new WWE Champion for the first time since 2017. And yes, I will point out that ketchup was flowing because Drew McIntyre was bleeding from the mouth. But, Randy Orton is the champion, and Miz is Mr. Money in the Bank, and I'm no longer a champion. And I'm pissed. And I know they did it for The Rock, so, but this was a decent show. When the night started, when he had like 4 matches, and then there was 5 after SmackDown, I was like, oh. But then more happened. It was a little bit better. I just wish they didn't have any tooth pain, but I enjoyed it. So what are your thoughts on Hell in a Cell? Comment below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. See you in the next one.